response almost made me crash out. I ain't gonna lie, because they told me if we go by fin reception and writing flaws, the worst Zordon era Ranger is usually considered.
So that's the way you want it.
So we have our opinions regarding the Zordon era of Power Rangers, but I thought it would be a fun video idea if I asked good old Chat GPT. I've been slowly getting addicted to Chat GPT. I have a problem, okay? I admit I have a problem, but I thought of a fun video idea because I have my opinions, you have your opinions, and I want to see what Chat GPT thought of certain questions regarding the Zordon era of Power Rangers. So I'm not going to bore you guys to death. Let's just jump right into it. Who is the best Zordon era Red Ranger? And if you see me looking off to the side, that's me looking at my computer, right? Chat GPT told me that the best Red Ranger of the Zordon era is Andros. Andros is the most well-rounded Red Ranger of the Zordon era, emotionally complex, narratively vital, and unforgettable. Now, I agree with that because when Andros came on the scene in Power Rangers in Space, I was instantly drawn to his character. He had aura, he had presence. If you want to draw up the template of like what should be a Red Ranger, it would be Jason, right? Then you got Tommy. I feel like Tommy was a solid Red Ranger, but his best moments was him as the Green Ranger and also the White Ranger. Andros. I feel like Andros was a different Red Ranger. He was somebody who can lead, but also can do missions on his own. And I feel like he trusts his team to handle missions without him. And I feel like his story was different. He was looking for his sister. You know, he was a great fighter. You seen him develop. It was so many layers concerning the Andros character. And that's why I feel like he is the best Red Ranger of the Zordon era. Chat GPT, you got that one right. Which Zordon era female Power Ranger could lead a team? Ooh, now before I get to that answer, I want y'all to let me know which Power Ranger, which female Power Ranger would you trust to lead a team in the Zordon era? So ChatGPT says Kat stands out as the most qualified female Ranger from the Zordon era to lead a team. Her cross-season experience, maturity, and leadership moments make her the most capable of handling command responsibilities, both in combat and in team dynamics. Kat, woo! Now, I know some people probably would say Trini will make a great leader. Kimberly will make a great leader. Even Cassie, I feel like Cassie don't get talked about enough. But Kat, I don't know. This is something that I gotta think more on, but I guess regarding Kat's experience, like she was technically a Mighty Morphin, she was a Zeo Ranger, and she was a Turbo Ranger, so I guess that experience does make her the most qualified because she was in 3 Ranger suits, she was in across 3 different shows, so I'm not hating on that idea. Maybe Kat can be a solid leader, and whoever they build around her can actually be a great team, so Kat ain't that bad. Who would you trust to lead a Power Rangers team, Adam or Rocky? So according to ChatGPT, they said Adam is the better choice to lead a Power Rangers team. While Rocky has heart, Adam has the quiet authority, experience, and consistency that makes him more suited to leading rather than just participating. He's like the Sam Wise of the Power Rangers universe, humble but powerful, and ultimately indispensable. Yes, Adam was that dude, man. Like seriously, outside of Tommy, Adam Park is my favorite Ranger of the Zordon era. You know, like he's in that top 3. It's Tommy, Adam, and Andros. You know what I'm saying? Like I think those guys are great. But regarding Adam, if I had to pick somebody to lead a team, you know, we discussed this in a previous video, Adam would have been a great Red Turbo Ranger. You know what I'm saying? Like if he ended up being the leader after Tommy left, the Turbo team could have looked a little different, could have felt a little differently. And I felt like Adam was being groomed for that role. You felt it. Growing out his hair, you know, he was stepping up. He was more vocal. He was more out there. And we discussed that before. But regarding this question, they feel that Adam would have been the better Ranger to lead the team over Rocky. Sorry, Rocky. So I asked ChatGPT who would win in a fight, Goldar or Ecliptor? Woo! Ooh, the battle of the two swordsmen, man. According to Chat GPT, they says Ecliptor with or without upgrades. That is wild. Goldar might get a few strong blows in, but Ecliptor's superior skill, strategy, and composure would give him the edge in almost any version of the fight. They basically saying Ecliptor would smoke Goldar. Like, I mean, I feel like Goldar in the beginning of Power Rangers, like, he was a lot more intimidating. He was a lot, you know, towards the end of Goldar's run, he was a little bit more comic relief. He was jokey. I can't stand what they did with him in the end of Mighty Morphin. He just came across as a joke. Ecliptor from start to finish, he was all about his business, and his weak side was astronomer, because, you know, he looked after astronomer, and, you know, but yeah, they basically said in every which way Ecliptor would roast Goldar. What do y'all think about that, man? We about to get into some spiciness, so I asked Chat GPT, who was the better girlfriend for Tommy Oliver? So it seemed like Chat GPT was in between with this question, but I'll read two parts of it. So it says verdict with a question mark. If you're into nostalgic, passionate first love, Kimberly was the better match. But if you prefer stability, maturity, and long-term potential, Kat was the better partner. I agree with that because, you know, when it came to the Kimberly and Tommy relationship, it was good. Like, it just feels like nostalgic high school love. But the thing with Kat, it did feel a little bit more long-term. You know, she genuinely liked Tommy. Tommy was going to be first priority. When it came to Kimberly, her dreams and stuff interfered. And as soon as she dipped up out of there, she got a whole nother brother. You know what I'm saying? With the letter, man. That's all I got to say is the letter. But the messiness when it comes to Kat was like, it seemed like sis was plotting from the very beginning. You know, if this is something that happened organically after Kimberly left, then fine. But sis was plotting from Mighty Morphin. Like, when we first see Kat come on the scene, she was plotting to get Tommy. So that's what makes it a little bit more messier. I don't even think they even kissed on camera. I know Tommy and Kimberly did. But Kat and Tommy, I don't know if they kissed on camera. I don't know. But Kat just seemed a little bit more stable. They said, based on long-term growth and canon implications, Catherine Hillard edges out as the better girlfriend and eventual life partner. But Kimberly and Tommy remain iconic and beloved for their raw chemistry and original spark. You know, listen, you can't go wrong with any answer. You know, I like both couples. I like Tommy with Kimberly, and I like Tommy with Kat. You know, I feel like Kat really did like Tommy. She really cared about him a lot, and so did Kimberly, but it just came across as like high school crush to me. So I asked ChatGPT, who is the worst Zordon era Ranger? So this response almost made me crash out. I ain't gonna lie, because they told me if we go by fan reception and writing flaws, the worst Zordon era Ranger is usually considered to be Justin Stewart, Blue Turbo Ranger, not because he was a bad character, but because he clashed with the tone and was handled poorly in the show's context. Now, when I first read that response, I was just like, come on, man, there's no way out of all those Rangers that Justin is the worst Ranger. Like, I get it. He was a kid. You know, some people didn't like some of his episodes or whatever. But when it came down to getting things done, I feel like Justin did get things done. I said this before, and we are Blake Foster fans on this channel over here. Justin is the reason why the Rangers got into space. When they lost their powers in the Chase into Space episode, who was the one that stepped up without powers to get the rest of the Rangers into space? And he decided to stay on. Who took the sacrifice at the end of Turbo? It was Justin. He snuck into the space place. He got the spaceship. He talked to the commander. He got all of that stuff. He handled business. This kid handled business. By that alone, he cannot be the worst Power Ranger of the Zordon era. But I personally asked ChatGPT, are you sure? Do you really think that Justin is the worst Ranger of the Zordon era? This is what they told me. So who was the worst? If we're being realistic, a stronger case could be made for Rocky, because he was sidelined a lot and didn't contribute much after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is true. Tanya, though no fault of her own, she was underdeveloped. Tanya was great, but I feel like she should have given more to the team. Even Catherine, wow, okay. Even Catherine for being underwritten in Turbo. I mean, when it came to Turbo, it just felt like they was on their way out anyway. But Justin, he had heart, skills, and real emotional stakes. That counts for a lot. So I'm saying this right now. Justin is not the worst Power Ranger of the Zordan era. There is somebody that I feel like is one of, if not the worst, and they're not even on this specific Chat GPT list. That's a question for another day. Who is the best Power Ranger of the Zordan era? Now you know my answer. Answer's the GOAT, Tommy Oliver. But this is what Chat GPT said. The best Zordan era Ranger is Andros, Red Space Ranger. Woo! You know, I'm not going to argue that. Andros is my guy. He's in my top 3. But let's see what they say. He brought closure to the entire Zordan storyline, made the hardest choice destroying Zordan to save the universe, redeemed his sister and himself, proved that leadership isn't about popularity, it's about sacrifice, growth, and results. And he led the team that finally defeated the United Alliance of Evil. Yes, Andros did do that. Andros did do that. You know, if people say that he was the best Power Ranger of the Zordan era, I'm not arguing, because Andros is a great Ranger. He was a great Red Ranger. You know, going into Power Rangers in Space, I was expecting like this standoffish, snobby, loner, didn't want to be a team player type of Power Ranger, because that's what people made it seem like. They said like, oh yeah, Andros was always going off on his own, or Andros was always the lone wolf. He wasn't about the team. TJ was really the leader of the team. And I was like, nah. I look at it as like Andros had business before the other Rangers showed up. He was looking for his sister before the other Rangers showed up. He was continuing his mission. He was trying to find where's his sister. So he was continuing his mission, also at the same time trying to save the universe, save the galaxy and things like that. So I felt like in those episodes when he was going off on his own, he was telling his team like, hey, like, yo, y'all can handle this. I'm gonna handle this over here. That's the way that I took it. I felt like Andros actually put trust in his team that they can handle the business without him. But back to this question, I ain't hating on it, man. I ain't hating on it. Andros, to me, is one of, if not the best Red Ranger of the Zordan era. Going back to our first question, but if people agree with Chat GPT, I ain't arguing with you either. If you have any questions that you would like me to ask Chat GPT and we discuss it on here, let your boy know. Put them in the comment section. Let's have fun with this. I'll give my opinion whether I agree or disagree, and let's have fun with this, man. Like, this was actually pretty fun. It was funny looking at some of these responses that I was getting from Chat GPT. There were some other questions, but I might save that for a next video if y'all do want a part 2. But let me know if y'all want me to ask some questions and feature it on here and give my personal take on those questions. Drop them. Social media and all that stuff is in the description, where it always is. Hit me up on IG, TikTok, or whatever y'all can find me. It's the same name everywhere, all right? Until the next video, your boy the Wildcat, J. Troy, is out.